एंड ये बट एक बार ना राजेश और हम मिले थे बेसिक्स की 20th एनिवर्सरी पे। वहां राजेश ने अपना काम खुद का में रोल ऑफ राजेश इन इज ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड उसका ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का रोल इन द इकोसिस्टम, ये दोनों चीजें ना बहुत एक छोटे से एग्जांपल से एक्सप्लेन की थी। राजेश के पास उस समय गले में एक रुद्राक्ष का माला हुआ करता था। राजेश अभी भी है क्या वो?
नहीं, ये भी नहीं है।
नहीं है। तो उसने वो माला निकाल के दिखाया, बोलते थे कोई इस माला के अंदर जो धागा है वो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है, बट वो धागा किसी को दिखाई नहीं देता। वो धागा है इसलिए माला है, नहीं तो ये रुद्राक्ष सब बिखर जाते। तो मैं एनईएमएल में दो मैं सीईओ हूँ। बहुत सारे एनईएमएल के मेरे कलीग मेरे से एज में सीनियर है, एक्सपीरियंस में सीनियर है, एक्सपर्टाइज में सीनियर है, एंड दे कम फ्रॉम अ डाइवर्स बैकग्राउंड। कोई एक्चुअली रूरल मार्केट से आता है तो कोई टेक्नोलॉजी से आता है। तो ये सबको इकट्ठा रखने का काम मैं करता हूं एज अ सीईओ विद इन एनईएमएल। एंड व्हेन वी लुक आउटसाइड एनईएमएल, एनईएमएल एग्री इकोसिस्टम में क्या काम करता है, तो ऑलमोस्ट वो यही काम करता है। वी आर द एनेबलर्स। हम ये डिजिटल मार्केट प्लेस एग्रीकल्चर में कंसेप्ट ले जाने का सबसे बड़ा ये है एनेबलर है वो। तो ओवरऑल सिस्टम में वो धागे का काम एनईएमएल कर रहा है। तो वो एनालॉजी मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी थी, मैंने सोचा आज पहले वो शेयर करता हूं मैं। दैट इज अ मोर अप्रोप्रिएट इंट्रोडक्शन फॉर राजेश। एंड इसलिए आपने देखा होगा कि राजेश बहुत कहीं प्रोमिनेंटली एक्टिव नहीं दिखाई देगा आपको किसी प्लेटफॉर्म में, बट ये जो इंटीग्रेशन का काम है वो इतने सालों से राजेश बहुत बखूबी से करता आया है। सो विथ दैट इंट्रोडक्शन, ओवर टू यू राजेश।
Okay, so just let me say what I used to give called male mein dhaga, because the value of mala is depending on the pendant it has. In case of Rudraksh, it is ek, ek mukhi, do mukhi, panch mukhi, and all that stuff. Okay, but the value, nobody is going to give you a lot of value because you are a dhaga. IRMANs are like that in general. Okay. Initial batches were more passionately driven by a purpose. By the time our batch came, this is 97 when I passed out, we were still passionately driven, but may not be as passionate as the initial batches. Because by that time, Operation Flood was over. That was 93, it was over. And IRMA was starting a transition. Okay. And I can safely say that introducing IRMA to so-called non-sector, for which there was a huge vehement opposition and still is in many times, partly you can blame it on me. So I first formally introduced MCX and picked up from MCX, which was a future commodity exchange. And it's not SATA, means there. So that we were trying to establish a first fruit and vegetable exchange. That was way back in 2006. January when I joined in, and nobody had even heard of what is this digital. We were trying to see if there could be SMS based market and all that stuff. The second exchange introduced what? NCDX. Prior to that, I had introduced Sagal Foundation. So some of the people picked up, they are still there, while I moved on. Now, stock exchanges, if you see today, there are only 4 of them. And why I ventured into that was not because I had a career aspiration for stock exchange. No. I picked up IRMA over other major prestigious institutes, largely because I was somewhere, passionate to kind of see how you can drive a change. And working with corporate and not-for-profit, it looked like, exchanges provides a great solution. Because when you are literally a jhola wala picking up material from rural artisans and selling it in Lajpat Nagar or Bada Bazaar and trying to get them money back, it's usually a 3 to 6 months gap. Price gap is 2 to 4 times. So if a farmer artisan gets 5 rupees, High Design is selling it at actually 20 rupees. And they will pay after 6 months. So when I was introduced to a concept in an exchange, it was so great. I was glad that there is an exchange who says, whatever produce you buy and sell through us, you don't need to go to bank for finance. I was, working as a consultant to SIDBI with EDA to link artisans with the rural banks. And if we sanctioned one, I would get my salary paid accordingly, depending upon the how many loans were sanctioned and all. So here was an opportunity where you don't have to go to a bank. If a farmer or any producer for that matter deposit its produce in a exchange accredited third party stockist stocking point, warehouses in case of agriculture or other pieces, immediately the person would get a credit. And the person had the liberty to sell it. You don't have to wait, for the next season or something. And there were contracts running around the year. So for a layman who had not heard of exchanges at all, in 2006, while I had worked for Frito-Lay, I had worked for Ogilvy and Mather, I had never heard of exchanges. And Jan 2006, I came in as a vice president and heading a project called Safal National Exchange. This journey continued till 2022 Feb. So, and during this time, we have seen a huge evolution of sectors. And I'm happy to state that as an IRMAn, we were able to bring a huge change. The core of any market is to add value, to give the best possible prices, to be a very honest and a transparent platform. A difference between a broker or a general broker or a commission agent in a market is your market is usually transparent. And you have multiple buyers and multiple sellers. Okay, so there I would stop about it. Now let me come back to the today's piece, which is largely about entrepreneurship. And what we have looked at is in past, I was going through the this IRMAn talks, though not many talks I've attended in person, but I do go through the recordings. Okay, and I realized that most of the time the person in the center keeps speaking, and so be it, because we have really, have earned it to kind of come and talk to the entire alma mater about us. Okay. Having said that, it would be worthwhile to just go back and see, how a remodeling of a business can be done, considering the younger batches. Okay. Now, though I have a presentation, Ritu, are you there? Ritu, you want me to share the presentation or?
Yes, Rajesh. I'm here.
can do
Please
that,
share the
no?
presentation. I don't have it.
Okay, share screen, no? Okay.
Or should I try?
You do that, na, Ajay, if you can do that.
Just, but give me a minute, I will need a minute to download it and
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
Rajesh, are you sharing it?
No, Ajay.
I'm doing it. Just give me a minute, but.
Okay, so I will continue with that. So the whole piece about leadership. So I will tell you when, and I will talk about a journey in a given company where I spent majority of most of my experiences and product, whatever you can say, entire life I put into it, quite a bit of it, more than 10 years. For me, that's a large time. Okay. And we had a lot of IRMANs coming in. In fact, some of my batchmates worked with me. It was an honor to work with them. And many IRMANs who were very young and they wanted to make a difference. And there was a company, when I joined, that company was no longer the poster child. This is NCDX. In its first 2 years of registration with FMC, Forward Markets Commission, we had 2 regulators earlier. We were following a US method where you had 2 different regulators for stocks, that is securities, and different one for commodities. Whereas in UK, there is single regulator. This ended in 2015.
Ritu, you also try, for setting up. I'm facing some problem in opening the PPT
let me
file.
Do that. Let me do that, Ajay.
सर जी नमस्कार. सिन्हा साहब
नमस्कार
नमस्कार.
साहब.
कैसे हैं सर?
Thank you so much. I'm
Look
good.
forward. I'm able to connect to what you're saying, sir. I was also part of this industry very early, 2005, 6, 7. Look forward.
Yeah, Ravinderji, it's an honor that you remember and you say this.
Yeah, look forward, sir. Look forward. Yeah.
Okay, so here this is. So we are talking about now. I will go to show now, present slideshow. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay, so I will not take a lot of time. I will try to be as quick as possible. So these are some leadership quotes And the first one is what I am really, which I try to do, and I see that that's how it is. The great leader is someone, where people would say we did it ourselves. Trust me, it's a lot of pain. Because as a leader, you are just expected to take all the shit and all the pain that comes to you. Okay. But that's the ultimate victory because everybody else is participating. The last man who talks to your customer, in my case, it was a knowledge industry in my later part. Initially, it was through the products. For example, when I worked with Frito-Lay, it's your product that talks, okay? But that talks to the consumer. Still, you have to manage distributor, which is people-led. So salesman is the most important guy there. So if that person is not convinced about your product, he or she may not be able to sell it. Okay, that I learned from Frito-Lay, where they took utmost care in preparing, getting a product out. Okay, and I was part of the product development team. So that's about the leadership, and this is what my belief is personally. And the second one becomes much more relevant today than any day earlier because of the generative AI that we are talking about. And I'm absolutely convinced that the most valuable business would still be those where entrepreneurs are empowering people rather than trying to make them obsolete. And the last one, which I'm a fan of, is one gets promoted to his or her level of incompetence. This actually I talked to all my teammates, and I said, look, the day I become incompetent, please come and replace me. Absolutely no issues. Because if I am not capable of vacating my chair and moving up, I don't think I deserve that chair to be there at all times. Okay, so I leave it at that. And this would be a slide which I would request all of you to go through. Look at 2008-9, which I often talk about. It's 83 lakh rupees was the total income. And if I tell you 80 lakh of this came from our interest income that he earned from member deposits, which came goodwill thanks to our parent company. And we were losing 3 crore. Look at 2009-10, we lost 10 crores. We wrote off an entire exchange mechanism. Software system was completely done away with. We said we do not want a future exchange system. And we took on the challenge to create a web-based system in those days when you did not have internet pervasive. And the first one that we did was we were the first one to do SMS-based trading. We were the first one to do a negative pricing. Most exchanges did it when crude hit a negative piece. We did it long ago because we innovated a transport auction. Okay. But just suffice to say, if you look at this is what a hockey curve really looks like. Look at this red line here and a green line. So if you just plot it downwards, you will see this hockey going deeper. So exchange was established. This is the company was established in 2006. Okay. So 2008 literally was the first full financial year. I joined in November. So you can see this hockey curve where, you have gone deeper, then it goes up. And now you see this green going up. This is the first 5 years when we broke even from 2010-11, when we first introduced the web-based markets. And as you see this, your green goes up. And you see, this is when I got elevated to the chief managing director. Okay. Now, if you look at how it gets remodeled and what challenges you could face, the first challenge was the business model which our parent companies put in. They wanted to establish a gold exchange, and we were the first one to do a JV company. That was done away. So you lost so much money here. Remember, equity here is just 5 lakh rupees. That's all. And by the time you hit 2010-11, again, while you are off to a different system, you have a competitor in you who is running like a super bullet speed train. National Spot Exchange Limited. Since I had worked in MCX, I had absolutely no issues there. Anybody talked to me, I said, I am doing my business model, which is where I have 100% market share. and I don't care what other is running. And the oft quoted piece was, we are the competition. And why are we doing it? We are here because we are going to increase the farmers income. So purpose used to bind everyone. Okay. So this is a complete, as you look at it, 2017-18, you see this turnaround 2 by 2 by 2. I said every second year we will double our turnover. This started in 2010-11. So 11 to 14, we said we will break even, we broke even. We had a positive PAT. If you see, but EBITDA positive, again, it came during the same time. But if you look at contribution margins, we were positive in 2012-13 itself. Now, as you go forward, so this is a, you can see 1145 to 19 to 26, 35, 41. Next year, we had hit around 60. I think 60, yeah, 50 something. So I'm saying this is a turnaround, and you had everything that you can think. 12, 13, 13, 14, you have NSCL scam. All other exchanges are shut. Your existence, your board says, shut up. Anyway, so this is what was achieved. And during the process, we have done a lot of stuff that includes emission permit trading system and page down. Yeah. Now, so anyone has questions, just keep it up to you right now. Now, I would just leave it open, and in the process, before I close, I will say what was done, what has been done during that time. We pioneered an electronic spot market trading system, which was adopted by 10 companies, funded by all the marquee funders that you can think of, including Omnivore, Kalari Capital, and Nexus Ventures and all that. Okay. E-warehousing receipt, which became e-negotiable warehousing receipt later on. A global first in pollution, that is the emission permit trading system. Okay. How do you justify in a company which is a subsidiary of Agriculture Exchange, or your key job is to develop efficient markets, and you are into commodities like steel, bullion, agriculture mostly, to go into a pollution permit trading? The purpose was very simple. We were catering to the poorest of the poor, and poorest of the poor spent 60% of their income on health hazards. That's where you had to do a system which could reduce their pollution. Started with Surat. So, one of the 2 or 3 key things are purpose binds the entity. Okay. Second is, you need to understand what is the key thing that you stand for. At all times, sustainability, like being profitable, remains at the core, not because profit is something that you desire. It's not a desirable or undesirable thing, because that is what would keep you going. If you can't stand on your 2 feet, whom are you going to handhold? Okay, so with this, I will stop. I could go on, but I will just stop now. And you have this here. Before, please read through it. And I open this for question and answers right away. Please share your questions. And in as much short as possible, I would be able to answer that question. I would write it down. Then we will go to Ankur. Ankur has very kindly agreed to discuss it live. So he will get most of the time. He has his questions also. Okay. So now I open the floor for questioning right in the beginning.
राजेश जस्ट एक बार ना सब जो लेट ज्वाइन किए उनके बेनिफिट के लिए आपने आइडिया क्या प्रपोज किया इंटरैक्टिव, वो जस्ट 1 मिनट में रिपीट कीजिए.
So the idea here is, this is a great forum, people like me and people like who have done the talks earlier. I would say they have earned it. They have been invited by the alma mater. So it's a great honor. Having said that, while we can keep speaking for entire time, that will be also be short. It's worthwhile we give something to the audience. Okay. So rather than keeping questions to the last, what we thought was we will make it interactive. Okay. And Ajay did a great job in trying to find out who amongst alumni would be bold enough to ask question answers on the remodeling of business. The topic is remodeling of the business, right? So Ankur came forward and he has put, so whatever he has given, I have put that as a back. And I would like Ankur to introduce himself. I have already, just for Ankur, I'm just putting this Ankur. You would be able to see that quickly. Okay. And there are your questions. Okay. That's where this presentation ends. So the idea is that we should be able to interact and make it as much interactive as possible and make this talk more valuable so that there is a better takeaway. Obviously, when you go to the institute, That's a very different takeaway. I have been there earlier, but for the alumni, and that was the key idea. Ajay, you can add.
परफेक्ट. सो पहले थोड़ा सा हम दो स्लाइड्स पे आया है. लेट विल रिक्वेस्ट अंकुर टू इंट्रोड्यूस हिमसेल्फ, talk a bit about his business, and even also articulate the questions he had.
So Ajay, before
Yeah.
we do that, because I know by the time Ankur's things end, the session will end. Is there someone who wants to ask questions on it? I would, at least note that, and if
अच्छा, ठीक है. हाँ, yes,
I
yes,
can
yes.
answer. We can answer it later on.
Later
If
also,
time does
हाँ.
not come.
Any questions? Most welcome.
Yeah, I was typing the question. Should I ask it or typing
Yes,
it?
yes,
Fine?
please. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, I'll type it.
Quickly ask it, na? And then type it also, because that we can record later on. Yeah.
Okay. So, the question was on remodeling. How do you figure out that you need to remodel? Because today, especially in the startup kind of an entrepreneur scenario, we see some of it is actually driven by the investor. And in some other cases, you see that in spite of like continuous years of losses, you still don't want to remodel. So what are like the cues from your experience you think when an entrepreneur should seriously think about remodeling?
Okay. We had a similar situation. The first thing is, the very first principle is cash is king. Okay. So why you work? There are only two things that any act that we do leads to. One, there could be an increase in revenue. Okay. Other, there could be a decrease in cost. Correct? If any activity that you do and does not lead to this, or you don't have a clarity of a roadmap how one of these will be achieved, please don't do that. Be ruthless. That is the very first principle. This is all strategy is about. So the strategy, simplest and the workable definition is set of actions that will lead to either increase in income or reduction in cost. So that is the first basic principle. First cue that you need to remodel. If you are doing a set of activities which are not leading to one of these, you're not on the right path. Please revisit. Go back to the checkboard. That is number one. Number two, most cases, you have to reduce costs. Okay. I'm not saying you lay off your people. I'm saying reduce costs. For example, in our case, we had a clearing corporation whom we were paying 1 crore rupees annually. Okay. They will not change anything. We said any vendor or any person to whom we pay does not add value to our business, we are going to do away with it. We simply did away with that business. The day the contract ended, next day, you are not getting a penny. As simple as that. Whether it was by a promoter or whether it was a super promoter, in this case, or super promoter. Okay, my parent company's boss. It's like grandparent, Dada. The largest stock exchange in the country. So I'm saying the second basic principle is any activity, any vendor that does not add value to you, simply say no to that. So these are two basic principles I individually followed, and this delivered. These are the cues when you need to remodel. I had a history of establishing two spot exchanges, two different initiatives beforehand, especially with MCX spot exchange, which did not work. So I had in the hindsight, I had that benefit. Okay. And third would be, I think, cash. When I say, I'm also saying that you should have paying customers. If you don't have paying customers, either your customers are not right, or what you are offering is not right. Maybe a product or a service. So 3 Qs, if you have to look at it, first I'm saying keep cash is king. Whatever you do, you should see that you should be able to either conserve cash or spend more. So your strategy should be towards that. Number 2, as we talked about, any activity that does not add value. So first one, I'm saying if you don't have a visibility towards increased profit or reduced costs, please don't do that activity. That's the first sign that you are involving into something which is not going to work. Second is be ruthless about cutting things that does not add costs, that does not add value to you. Okay, and third is, I think, team and people that we can keep talking. Yeah, does that answer part of it or no?
Yeah,
we can
thank you.
engage later on. Yeah.
Thank
you. Sir, question answers are in the end, or we can.
No, you can, you just write, I will write the questions, and I think we are now almost.
Since, you just started, no? Maybe.
Just ask the question, yeah.
Okay. So, first of all, wonderful to attend your talk. We have crossed path many times. Just one question, since you were there at the time when you were establishing MCX Spot Exchange, and you know the inside story, and there were no dearth of funds. And you also set up, I understand, NCDX Spot Exchange, and I understand you also set up later on NSE Spot Exchange.
BSC.
So what is that? What worked in NCDX Spot Exchange? Although they were in, I mean, as I understand, financially very much down. And I mean, not saying very much down, but they don't have that much of deep pockets as
we
compared
didn't
to
have money to pay to our salaries. Okay, that was
MCX में they had lot of funds. ठीक है, they did it the wrong way. वो अलग बात है. But any other reason कि नहीं चला वो?
I will give you my way of looking at it. So 3 spot exchanges with 3 large exchanges. Okay, in fact, I would even add Reliance Spot Exchange, which was set up by Reliance Capital at that time, and fourth was
Anil Ambani
NMC
Group.
APMC. Okay.
Anil Ambani Group, na?
BSC had also, BSC was supporting that. BSC MDCU had come down. Okay. So few things. Please mute. Speaking, request to mute, please. Yeah. So what worked in terms of what did not work in MCX was they were on a super speed rail, okay, and they wanted to standardize, number one. So they were not willing to, I will not say capable, they were not willing to make changes in the technology architecture which was required to do. For example, the other partner, which is NDDB, remember I had worked for 5 years with NDDB team in Delhi. So I had, they were like my friends there. Okay.
So you're talking about Shuffle Exchange, or you're talking about
I'm talking about Shuffle Exchange right now. Okay.
Okay.
So first was there was no convergence. Okay. Here were two entities, NDDB and MCX. Okay. Both were looking at same thing differently. The classic case was MCX would say, so in Tocom, bullion will take 39 turns before it gets. And NDDB will be agree in F&V also there are 4 times when it changes hands before it goes, right? But whether we should have 4 turns or whether we should have 39 turns were not acceptable. Second, MCX wanted since we have core standardized technology architecture, we want margins to be given by producers also, because buyer sellers both give margin. This change they could not effect. One of the reasons I quit. They could not effect this one change in technology architecture in more than 1.5 years.
Oh, got it.
So in their priority, it was not there. In the priority list of MCX, SNX possibly receded in value in priority because they had other bigger things coming up. They had a stock exchange coming up. They were setting up exchange in Singapore. They were setting up exchange somewhere in Malaysia and all that stuff. What worked in NCDX was, one, they were focused. Okay. Second, since they were anyway going down, they, in this entire piece, we were too small to be bothered about, from being the largest exchange, they were going down. So we got, in a way, we were sheltered, and we were very clear what we wanted. And since we had clarity, the management at the top, they said, okay, we'll not touch you, go ahead and do it. And we got an independent technology team.
Okay, got it.
As long as we started delivering. Third one at BSC, by the time I left, I had a 2 + 1 year contract. So 2 years I had completed. The reason is they still did not have a technology team dedicated to it. Okay. If you really believe in something, you need to give. So I think in my view, that is tech remains a critical piece which need to be resolved. Okay, and giving freedom to the management team.
Yeah. And you think it is the same reason why that main MCX Spot Exchange, the big one, failed, which actually was
Maybe
led to the failure.
okay, I will discuss it separately. This is not, this is not relate here. So I will
But that led to the failure of the whole of MCX system, and of course changing the whole ecosystem. And what you said ki, FMC was there, the regulator, wo bhi khatam ho gaya. I think that led to everything.
But we grew 5 times to 6 times after that. We were also
wonderful. Because we had systems and processes, no? Right. We'll discuss it offline.
Yeah, we'll discuss it offline. There were many reasons. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Ankur, over to you. I will come back on the question side. So this is about...
My name is Ankur Kumawat. I am from PRM 23. Passed out of IRMAn in 2004. For 15 years, I worked in organizations like NAFED, Dabar, largely in ICICI Bank. For about 14 years, I worked in ICICI Bank. My last assignment was heading private banking in Rajasthan for ICICI Bank. So that's how I moved back to Udaipur from Mumbai after 13 years. And after spending about 1.5 year in Udaipur in Rajasthan in ICICI Bank, I finally quitted my job in 2020. So next month, it will be nearly 3 years since I have quitted my job. And since quitting my job, I have joined my family business, which is mainly into manufacturing concrete products like RCC hume pipes, flower pots, telecom chambers, telecom markers, and etc. So the main reason why when I quitted my job was we have to make a decision either to shut down the industry which was already there, or I should take it over and try to make it profitable and grow the turnover. So I'm happy to inform that in last 3 years we have almost more than doubled our turnover, and it will be about 3 times this year since I took it over. So there were some key challenges which we faced during this transition phase, and some of them are still there. So which we'll come to when we discuss it with Rajesh sir. So that's largely about me.
Okay. So these are other pieces. It's a debt-free company. Okay, like any other generational business. The last generation were living in a different time frame. They did their best, and many of our IRMANs can actually relate. Our parents were, they did their best to give us the best education, and whatever they thought best they were doing. Okay. Good thing here is they're flowing back their profits back into business. I'm not sure whether it was earlier, but at least last 2 years it is there. That is what data is. Gross revenue 80 lakhs, almost similar. Huh? You are profitable 15 lakhs, and you have already achieved a 50% growth there. Okay. Now, why is he looking at only doing it 4 crores? I have no idea. But let's go through the questions that he is asking now. The first question is use of debt versus equity for business expansion. Okay, Ankur, you want to add anything before this, before I go into taking your questions?
Yeah, for purpose of expansion, obviously there can be 2 sources of fund. One is our own funds, which will be limited in nature. Second is debt, because currently whatever working capital limits we are having, we can easily make it 5 to 10 times of whatever existing limits are there. And there'll be people who will be interested in investing in the business if you pitch the idea to them. Within Udaipur itself, I can pitch it to many people, and they'll be willing to invest a considerable amount into it. So that's the first question which is there. For business expansion, should we make use of debt, or we should look at equity as well?
Okay, so I will come to that. Just Ankur, in short, tell us what was your motive here? Was it that you wanted to be with family? Maybe that could be one. Was it this that you saw it that you have worked enough, you have gained enough experience, and you wanted to do something, and anyway, it's a family business, we will go there? Or was it that, you were not really enjoying your job right now? Wanted to do something different. So anyway, why not entrepreneurship, and why not at home? Because it's anyway win-win-win. What was it?
All of
Or
them,
maybe something else.
all of them are correct to some extent. The first trigger was when I moved back to Udaipur. I was working in Mumbai for last 12, 13 years. Suddenly I saw an open job posting in ICICI internal platforms, which said that there's a vacancy for private banking in Udaipur.
Hmm.
So I was largely working into agri and credit and other roles. So my last boss was hesitant to send me to private banking in Udaipur. But after persuading him for a few months, he largely got convinced because he was not getting anyone else to come to Udaipur because it's a small city and it was a relatively senior role. So after persuading him, I came back to Udaipur. So after spending a year and a half, I just found out that it's not that enjoyable. I can do better in my own business rather than spending rest of my life working for some organization. And
Great.
lately, a decision had to be made. My father was getting old, so this business either had to be shut down and asset disposed of, or somebody has to take it over. So after spending some time over it, I decided that maybe I'll join this and try to revive it and expand it.
Okay, great. So I will tell you the first piece is let's get into. So I'm saying, as an entrepreneur, there may be different motivators to us. Okay, for me, the biggest motivator was, could I be a job giver? All my life I had been a job seeker, and here was an opportunity open in front of me, the toughest that you can think of. Entire commodity exchange has been wiped off in a way. The regulator had to go away, but we stood. What was the key motivator? We are making a difference to farmers anyway. So our motivations may be different, but challenges are not. We need to remain motivated forever. So Ankur could have written, for example, CEO of XYZ company. He has not yet written that. I won't like to go into details, but I would like him to, next time when he introduces, I am Ankur Kumawat, CEO of this business. He is. And he has to be respected for what he is doing. He is giving jobs to, he's one of the question is, how do I not, let go people? So let me answer your questions quickly, Ankur, one by one, okay? We had discussions beforehand. So first is, if there is a choice, any working capital requirements, go for that. Because you know the revenue, you know the cost.
Yeah.
That's a straight through. Second, for equity, you should go for business expansions where you know that large amount of capital you cannot service. But if it's a general working capital requirement, go for debt. Make your company is anyway debt-free company, be debt-worthy, take 1/4 or something, and you can service that. Okay. And equity should be used only as an option when your debt is taken care of. Okay. Now let's look at the change resistance. I read a book in Harvard called Fire Someone Today. That's the book that was given. So it's nothing new. And I talked to you earlier. Rasi Modi had to be fired, Ratan Tata took over. And Rasi Modi was a Chatrap in Tata Steel. He was the god. So let me give you a very simple and workable answer. Sit with them. What is their motivation? They would be at different age groups and all. Okay. Don't look at what they are doing right now. Look at what they are going to do. They would like to do. And why? So two of my employees once said, I want to go to Eurorail and I have come to work only for that. Very senior guy. Other one said, I am really poor. I am the first one earning. My mother is a single mother and I want to earn. So I should be given a better income. For me, as far as I was concerned, both are just different motivators. I need to get work done. And without adding value, the first one is more critical than the second one. So please sit with them, look at redefining their roles. Trust me, they could be very, very useful. One of my risk managers became my best banking liaising guy. He was ex-RBI audit guy who came in as risk manager, was given to us. Okay. So redefine their roles. And if at all nothing works, please let them go. Okay. So if it is not an option, I would say make it an option. But first sit with them, understand who they are as an individual, what is their motivation right now, and redefine their roles.
Yeah.
And there is something called managing a rebel talent here. Many people may like to say, देखो मैं तो ऐसे ही आ जाऊंगा, 10 बजे 12 बजे आऊंगा, मुझे कुछ नहीं होगा. Okay, you need to learn to how to manage those rebel talents. And the basic piece is finding the key motivator. Okay. Now the next one, I will start third one with the building. Does that answer it? Second question.
It does.
Okay. Product replication, it's essentially not product replication. It's saying, how do I build a strong USP in industry which has very, very low entry barriers? Essentially what it is in building and construction material, you know, most of us are doing the same thing. Other than preparing the first very difficult tunnel making, once done, which was done by L&T, after that 100 people got the contract, because once done, it's over. Now, don't get confused at all. Look one project at a time in this. If you want to grow fast, okay, you will have to modulate a spearhead piece. So for example, a dam constructor, I have seen this with Metro, right? J. Kumar Infra. I know someone very close, and which is your industry only. The guy actually got people from L&T, but after a while people went away. So what do they have? They have a whole set of unit. Okay, that's one way you should look at it. Second, look at infra.com. I tried to do a cements and building material. That's, you know, how, why we did not go into it. That is a different story. Today, infra.com is India's largest infrastructure B2B market. Okay, think about it. We can separately think. So don't get confused. If you get an opportunity, simply execute it. You don't bother about the world.
Yes.
Look at what you want to earn. For example, banana, Reliance Industries went into straightening the banana chain. Damodar worked earlier with Reliance, prior to that with DMart, and then, Big Bazaar, and then he came to Reliance. And eventually decided कि मैं इसको सीधा ही करूंगा. Reliance को थोड़ा सा ही फायदा होगा तो होगा, लेकिन banana I will start getting good. Today, while industry has benefited, Reliance has actually grown significantly. Banana remains one of the better selling commodities in there. So don't bother about it, and then try to create a digital kind of a mode where you can retain your customers and all that. That we can talk about. Now let's come to the physical expansion. Product delay. Okay, this is again I'm saying you will have to modulate it. In my view, there are no easy answers here. First, you capture your Udaipur, be the best in Udaipur. Then maybe be the best in Udaipur, Mount Abu, and Baswada, or maybe nearby areas. Go like that. It's a related expansion that would happen. In between, if you can prepare a strong product, which you can replicate better than anyone at the lowest cost, you can continue to do that.
Okay.
Go project by project. Don't have one way.
That's what we are trying to do. We are trying to introduce new products and get it tested in local market and trying to expand, build upon it.
Digital marketing, I think please go ahead, do that as much as you can. The challenge is when you do that, be ready with, if response comes, what you are going to do. More often than not, we use digital marketing, but it may not be easy to
service.
And handling logistics, you have too many softwares around. I'm still working with many of them. Yeah. Last, yeah, Richie.
Sir, 2 points. On the change resistance point, one is about how they are used to working, but also if we feel that the team is dedicated, they are sincere, but they are too slow because they are now 15, 20, 25, 30 years into the organization and they are still working the same way, and they are feeling bad because the organization has not changed the way, probably it has not moved with the times. So, in that case, how do we bring about that change management? Because they are working. It's not that they are not working, but the speed.
Okay, got your question. What is your objective of their utility?
My objective is to grow faster, because if we don't work fast,
what is their objective?
Their objective is also to grow with the organization, but they also want the organization to grow.
So please reskill. See, if it's an attitude problem, okay, you will have to deal it separately. Like I said, rebel talent management, they may be
Right.
extremely good at something.
Right.
So, okay, so one is you have to find out whether it's an attitudinal issue or whether it's a skill issue.
Right. Okay.
If
Okay.
none of
Got
this
it.
is a simple matter of role redefinition. I am fond of giving example of a gentleman who came to us at 64 years. He joined me. He was ex-general manager, Reserve Bank of India. Okay. He was a critical guy who got some licenses for Yes Bank. And he came in as a risk manager to NCDX. NCDX said, now I've got all the licenses, I don't need this guy. He was the best guy for us to do linking with the bankers. I redefined his role from being a risk manager to a banking liaison person. And then so I'm saying, you have to find that out and then read in their roles. If nothing works, let them go. It's fine. Give them 10 months salary, 11 months salary, you find a way. Because if they are not useful, you are wasting your time.
Right.
I have done that in my career, even to very senior people. They come across, I said, it's not working. Give me your laptop and it goes. I have also faced that. Early part in my career, where I have been told, Rajesh, it's great. End of the road today. We both remain good friends. Just because we want to part, neither company goes bad or becomes good, nor the person becomes bad or good. It's just that we are no longer having a utility that we see each other. As long as this intention is clear, I think you will get your team doing. I can individually, separately work with. And I am certain that if these are aligned, you can grow them. They will grow with you. I don't see a misalignment here.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Ankur, have we been through for five questions?
I think last one remains, the use of internal workforce or in-house workforce or outsourcing.
Okay, I will tell you, we try to do everything in-house. Why? Because one, we never had more money. Okay. But as we fast forward today, outsource as much as you can outside. Okay.
That's what we are currently doing. Most
Sit
of our functions are outsourced.
Please do that. You focus on your core. Your core is not to build a marketing team or not to kind of, create a competency in account handling or technology. Today, you are not at that stage.
Yeah.
A good technology manager will cost you anywhere between 30 to 60 lakhs, even if they are the least of it. If you follow outsourcing tier 2, tier 3 guys, doing many jobs and kind of, they're coding part-time basis, that be able, because you will not have the bandwidth. Okay. So my here would be, you use your in-house workforce for your core functions. Okay. And as much outsource you can, please do that. Today, there are enough and more platforms into it. In fact, today morning, I was sitting with someone who says that he has done a good B2B stuff for everyone from JSW Paints right down to a organized retailer. So they use their software. It's more like Geo, but then you retain your control, right? You don't give it to Geo. So you can order and just one software, you don't have to do anything. These guys will do all the integrations. So I'm saying today there is a great stuff available outside. You don't need to look at doing it yourself. I would say possibly a couple of $1 million. My only advice to you would be, don't think too small at this point in time.
Yes.
दो चीज होती है, या तो लाइन आपकी छोटी है ना, बड़ी करनी है, उस लाइन को वही रहने दो, ऊपर एक बड़ी लाइन खींचो, है ना? So you can do that, but think about, don't look at only 3 to 4 crore in 2025. If you have already hit 80 lakhs as we speak, another 80 lakhs will come in next 6 months because these are your on seasons. Barish is usually off season. You are lucky because it's dry. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you should double it. If I take you back the slides, let me take you here. Does it look very different? See here, This is 83 lakhs, 89. Here we again wrote off a lot of stuff. 9, 10. You see, after here, 2010-11, when I got control as a KMP, I said we will double every second year. Remember, we were going down. We did not have, our parents did not have money to pay. 2012-13, again the same story, but look at this growth: 161 to 284 to 589 to 1145 to 1901. And if you do 2 by 2, you will see 284 becomes 4 times here. Somewhere you will get a sweet spot where you will grow significantly. And you know, we left a lot of piece. Freight exchange we left. Infra markets we left. We did not pursue for various reasons. Not that we are not capable or not willing. Just that we did not get finances. It never come up on the priority. There were many things. Please aim high. One of the things I would advise all of us at IRMA is please aim high. I would have done far bigger if I had thought in even bigger things. If I had taken head on saying, no, I want to do infra market. I have a customer. Mumbai is going to grow. Airport is coming. All those things we knew. Because working with Foodlam, I know Mumbai is divided into 32 nodes. And I knew their next 25-year plan when we were doing organized retail planning. So I exactly knew that Navi Mumbai is going to come up. Which speed, when year, I don't know, but it was certain. So if I had developed a marketplace where any builder could actually aggregate his demand, and then we could aggregate at the back end, things could have been very different. Did not pursue it. Today, in the hindsight, I can say that. But those days when inside I was there, we prioritized something. And be firm. Once you have taken a decision, Ankur, don't think twice. That's another piece that I found wanting, because, you know, being a people manager lead you to, in a way, a little bit of complacencies at some time, where you are more considerate towards people than being honest to your objectives. And if there is a trade-off, you make trade-off in favor of people.
Yeah.
And you don't push your ideas for various reasons. Do that. Let it go here. Doesn't matter. Don't fear about copying. Let it get copied. How does it affect you?
No. Anyway, we are implementing it, but we can think through various scenarios which can come to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if we have time, I am open to questions. Ankur, if you want to ask anything else, very happy to answer.
Ajay bhai, I have Rajesh and Ajay bhai, I have one question before I leave.
Bataiye, sir.
Can I?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, it's not a question actually. So, Richi, Ajay bhai, Rajesh, kudos to you all. It was one of the best sessions, best talks I've ever heard on this kind of structure. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, and I could relate to most of the things, and I could actually see the way you synthesized and articulated your thoughts. बहुत अच्छा लगा, and I would love to meet you soon, Ajay bhai. Look forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we are in time, Richi?
6 o'clock is the time, yes?
Yeah. So I'm saying I would be happy to connect with you offline, you know.
Yeah, we'll continue to do that.
Yeah, org structuring, try to see which stage of organization you are in. So the way I used to do was I used to say, look, we are 3 years old, you know, toddler. I know I don't want sweet. I want a little sour, but I don't decide on the clothes I wear or the color of it. I don't really care. I'm not even, you know, bothering about it. When we became 15 years, I said, look, now we are teenagers, okay? If you don't do this, I will wreck the hell out of it. House will be wrecked, literally. Then this is okay, be on your own. Pocket money ले लिया है ना, जा ऐश कर. कमा के लाएगा तो ठीक है, नहीं तो नाना की तरह जाके अपना बाहर खाना खिलाते रहना टाइम्स. But then, you know, be very confident of doing it. So it's important to understand various pieces. One is the stage where the org is in. Second, your product service. what market pays for is usually what you do. We know all the stories, you know, how one product company went differently. Why go very far away? When Chetak was shut down, I never thought, you know, that Bajaj will become so big elsewhere. Look at this. Today, Bajaj is one of the largest finance players. It's all in the family. They let go the RIC business to focus on high-end two-wheelers. So I'm saying, you know, what we start with may not be what we end with. Ola started as a point-to-point. I was sitting with its CFO, who has started a entity, and he runs one of the large PCs, अपना क्या बोलते हैं, venture capitalist, the initial startup funds guys. And he was sharing that Ola started a point-to-point convenience sale solution. It's not a rip-off, or it wasn't a rip-off of Uber as we really talk about. Okay. Then they realized, yeah, ye to some Commonwealth Games or something was happening in Delhi. He said, I will provide that. He started with that. Today, when you say mobility solution is moved to scooty also because it fits in that purpose. You have to have that purpose big. So, you know, market responds differently.
There are many stories to look around, especially in tier 2, tier 3 cities. There are so many success stories. I think one of the key reasons that these cities gives you lot of time to think and connect with other people, as compared to maybe a metro where a lot of time is wasted in commute and other activities. I'll just give you an example. I have a close acquaintance. NBFC is listed on BSE and NSE. About 2 weeks back, it got listed on NSE. BSE, it was already there. He went bankrupt about 25 years back. He was our transporter. Then he tried things into plastic industry and all, and he almost went bankrupt 25 years back. Then he entered into finance industry. Now his firm is listed on both NSE and BSE. The other day he was sharing his story with me. You know everything.
Yeah, in fact, other piece is
unrelated.
If you are attractive to the youth, and Ankur, you would be lucky because Udaipur has so many educational institutions. If you can find a way to channelize some of the youth work for you, even on a part-time basis, you may offer a per hour kind of a piece saying, "Aao mere yahan 2 ghante karke jao," and you can define those jobs. You know, once you become a center point for a good talent, when we started, nobody will work with us from IT. It was tough for us to attract talent. So we outsourced it to TCS, NSCIT, parametrics and all that stuff. Okay. But as we grew, we gave them a great work environment. So we were the most attractive destination for women folk. We were the most attractive destination for the giants. We were the most attractive destination for younger people because we offered free food and we offered them to, you know, you could actually create your own menu. But at your end, so I'm saying becoming a center of attraction for a local talent. When we started offshore center at Nagpur, we started recruiting from Nagpur at a slightly higher price than TCS. They used to get at 3.5 lakhs. We started offering 4.5. Soon they bettered us, but eventually it went up. We started getting to be known as the benchmark setters, not the other way around. And that happened in many categories. And those are the things that we should look at when we really want to grow our enterprise. How to be at the center of attracting the best talent, then retaining them and letting go some of them who are not, you know, who no longer fit the purpose. None of the people who left us went out in a bad way, you know. Most of them, or rather all of them, do got a better proposition and they got a better place. We never said any bad word about them. Just because we no longer suit each other, one of us does not become bad. And that's as a core philosophy of any individual. They want to, you know, every individual want to be respected. They do their best. None of us want to be said, you know, told ki, you are doing nothing, you are a good for nothing guy. No, none of us want it that way. Okay.
Okay. I think that cost cutting part which you mentioned is most important one in running a business. Because
Yes, it
without
is. For
that,
you, it is. In your business, you have to be bare bones at all times. For example, I have in my own society in Navi Mumbai somebody whose father is working with Aramco in UK, UAE, at a very senior position. What that guy does? He takes money from people who are retiring, offers them a 12% return. Okay. And he has got we call it Monocho. What is that? ASCA, something that digger is there, na? Something that, what do you call here? It's earth movers are there, na? Which kind of dig and take out construction equipment. And
construction
likewise, he creates those capital assets, okay? Then leases it out to the builders. And he does it fantastically. He makes a margin of around 80% plus because he has a good amount of money supply. He creates capital assets which normal builder cannot create, leases it out on a monthly basis. It's the other guy's job. So I'm saying you could create too many models around what suits you best, but don't limit yourself saying, I'm in the business of making building material. No. That's a core product that you're offering. But are you in the business of only doing that? In that case, you will have to be the least cost and, and best entity. There also you will have to invest in the research and development. For example, I knew in 2002-3, I worked with an entity from US in trying to mixing up the fly ash in road along with cement to build the cement roads.
Yeah.
The challenge was if you don't do it right, it will slip in rains. Because every power plant produces too much fly ash. It's a pollutant, and then you have to, dump it. You don't know where to.
These days they make bricks out of it, so which is largely used in
development alternatives used to do it in 1897, 98. I'm saying, how do you go further? So I'm saying, so whatever you want to be, if you want to be on that line, there also your investment will have to be more in R&D than in possibly markets and all. But if you want to give solution to your city, which is into this, you may even as well venture into doing a better door and offer them as a co-product or something else. So depending upon where you want to go, you will need to create a core strategy and then go further on it. Okay.
Yes.
Up to you what you want to be. There's nothing right or wrong in any one of these.
Correct.
Yeah, Nanti is there. Look at him. I think he is one of the best entrepreneurs we have. Very glad he is still there so long. He is one of the best entrepreneurs we have in IRMA. And I think he and Priya has done a fantastic job for all of us.
They are into what?
They are into elderly care. That's what I get to know. Anant, am I right or wrong? Anant?
Yeah, you are right. We do elderly care. So, and I think it's really wonderful. It's like a very, listening to you has been like a very different perspective. We have been speaking a lot, but understanding the business and understanding the challenges, right? So that's what I was writing, but now I'm speaking. So yes, so I think it's
Anant started
I
something.
understand the challenge of growing the multiplying business that you did in such a short period of time, right? And that also with lot of stakeholders, right? It's one to have all decisions within you versus not only taking a decision but also getting a buy-in from different stakeholders, right? Getting them to agree to your decision. So I think that makes it even more challenging, right? It's not only, I think somebody said fund is enough. I think fund is not enough. It's also managing people, especially stakeholders, that Rajesh, I think, did very well, right? Being an entrepreneur within this government system, right? Public sector and different banks and, right, with their own interest, right? So thank you, Rajesh. That was wonderful. for me, it is much more simpler. I would say, I would definitely not say that I'm, because all decisions are taken within, within the family or within this thing. But it's good to see more people, more IRMANs, and getting into enterprise, right? So, it's like what I learned, and we practice, but somebody has tried to drill down in my brain recently has been, we keep on hearing about this product market fit, right? So I think whether it is a healthcare or whether it is pipes and cement products, I don't know, the industry. I think the important thing to look at is what is the product, what is the market, how closely they're aligned, right? So, so that is my one piece of thought on this conversation that is happening. That look at how closely are your products, whatever you are manufacturing, how big is the market, not only in Udaipur but in India, right? Or the world, right? Today we are all connected. How big is the market for? I don't know. I'm just using a layman term of cement pipes, right? Assume something more complicated than that. Look at the market much beyond Rajasthan or the city, but look at, is there a market globally? And I think Rajesh also alluded to that keep a big vision, right? And then all these small problems will automatically disappear, right? Whether, because your team will grow so many times that even if you are keeping some of your old people, they will stop mattering, right? So that is the point, that look at the market with logistics improving, where you can provide your materials anywhere in India, maybe globally, right? So I think one of another point that Rajesh has made about, think big. I would also recommend to do that. Sometimes it's not easy because you are so much bogged down with day-to-day work that you don't really get to think about, the larger picture, right? But I think always take out some time to think about it. If you can, is there a market for your product in Africa? I'm just this thing, right? If
So Anant, just taking this, so us telling Anant and seeing him grow and seeing as him in the business of elderly care. Now, elderly care is a noble purpose, right? Everybody would be happy to work for that, right? It's profitable and you are getting a market salary, that's better. You get to get some stocks also, again, that's great. Now, think about it, what could be simple purpose to you? I was talking to the guy in the morning, and this guy has given a B2B software, SaaS software with geo offers today. Okay, very similar to that. It's not a Shopclues or a Shopify. Okay, very clear guy. 8 crore he has earned the revenue, and where is his first market? It's Philippines. And why is it? It's the least resistance market. He says, I looked at various point of adapting, and in adaptability, Philippines has the top, then at India, then is the Indonesia. So think about it, Ankur. Maybe separately one could look at. And I think as Anant has evolved saying elderly care, now Anant could do anything in that. He's no longer just be kind of providing manpower to do that. That's how he started.
As you start growing, sir, your risk-taking capability and horizon also increases. 2 years
People
back,
will come to you. You don't have to search for people.
That's correct. But there's another school of thought. Now we are all from this Marwadi families. So there the saying is you should keep your feet firmly to the ground and cost under control. So you think big, but at the back of your mind you also think you should not have any losses.
तो स्ट्रेटजी है ना भैया, स्ट्रेटजी क्या है? या तो पैसा बढ़े या खर्चा कटे, दो में से एक तो होना चाहिए ना.
That's how these businesses survive for so long. They may not survive exponentially.
And
but
create a name. So next time when you introduce yourself, I am Ankur Kumawat, I run Kumawat Industries. Good.
Right. More of an informal session. So I didn't give out the details of company and all.
Yeah,
Just
I
speak
didn't know
next.
to seek because this is up to you what you want to share. Yeah.
So that's why the first question came, na, use of equity and debt, because
Complete clarity. I can tell you, I am working with
your
not
mind,
informally. I am working with the largest irrigation company in the country with more than 60% market share. Okay, they were into
Yeah.
major trouble because
Jain
they couldn't
irrigation.
manage their collections. Wasn't dead, not dead.
Hmm.
They were into government contracts. Government didn't pay them back, and they kind of was sold before that. Whatever, they were into deep shit. They are out of it now, but it was not about debt servicing. The core was not able to collect money from their customers on time.
Yes.
They survived. Another entity in sugar didn't survive. Renuka Sugar, poster child, barefoot manager, right? He gave equity
Yeah.
to all the sugarcane farmers. What happened? He made investments in Brazil when at some point in time around a decade ago, you had the first boom of bioethanol. Only to realize a couple of years down that through fracking, you had enough NG supplies that made it unviable. So what was a great step at that point in time, because Brazil and India produce sugar out of cane sugar, you put a capex and you can mint money, you can either sell sugar or ethanol, bore it down. Reliance Industries, great power, everything was fine. Challenge, it did not go live. It killed ILFS, it killed Reliance. Your cash flows will become an issue. But if you buy Ambuja, then it's a cash cow, right? It's running. You're not trying to establish a power plant back in Assam where it will go live depending upon your coal prices agreement at a X price, because by the time it was time to go live, governments had changed and Indonesia had upped their coal price. You are offering, your electricity board has an agreement to buy unit at $8 per unit, but it's available at $3.50 per unit. Why? 3.5 rupees per unit, sorry. So why the hell would they honor their contract? They did not. And those power plants still remain dead. From the sixth largest, richest person, the guy is nowhere. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyone else want to discuss anything? Otherwise, we can close the session, Richie. Yeah.
I think if everyone is done, yes, hi Ritu, yeah. Rajesh, if everyone is done, then we can close the recording and close the session.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, and thank you, sir, for taking out this time to take us through your journey. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Bye.
बिना फ्लाइट मोड के उपकरणों को उड़ान के दौरान
Thanks, Richie.
इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मनोरंजन उपकरणों
Have
का
a safe
इस्तेमाल
journey.
टेक ऑफ के बाद
Thank you.
और
Nitesh.
Thanks, Ritu.
Thank you. Nitesh is also with me.
Hi, Nitesh.
सभी शौचालयों में सरकारी नियम अनुसार इस विमान में किसी भी आपातकालीन निकास या विमान प्रणालियों का अनुमति बिना अनजान उपयोग करना वर्जित है। ऐसा करने पर सरकारी कार्रवाई या फिर उड़ान में उल्लंघन हो सकता है।